Does anybody remember that time I said very recently that it was the dumbest decision at the time to allow for no mask to be worn during public travel on public transit? Anybody remember such a crazy commentary by me? Most of you probably do. So, like always, because you learned a long time ago, look before you leap. Like always, I want to come back and do an update just to say, not that I was right, but that common sense and logical reason usually prevail in the universe. And because I stand on the side of those things, generally speaking, I'm going to be correct. Did you hear the news that 1,000 flights were canceled over Memorial Day weekend? On average, I think a total of 6,000 were canceled. 6,000 flights were canceled over Memorial Day weekend. Now, as being reported, here are the culprits. Fuel shortages was named as a culprit. Now, this one I think is very moderate culprit. I think there is some truth to it, but very moderate. Fuel has gone up tremendously. Fuel costs have gone up. You can see it at the gas pump, your local gas pump. So this is kind of true. You're not going to fly a plane with hardly any people. So if you don't have a lot of people flying, you're going to stay grounded. But the big one that everyone is experiencing is staff shortages. Now, why might you have staff shortages during the pandemic? And you tell people you don't have to wear a mask, but you're in close proximity to other people who are not allowed or don't have to also wear a mask as well. Well, you might contract something we commonly refer to as COVID-19. It's just been around for the last 2 years. So when that lunatic judge who didn't have a clue what she was doing lifted the mask mandate very recently, the federal mask mandate, you notice that all of the airline pilots and stewardess in attendance, you notice what happened, right? They started calling off. They started not showing up to work. And people are like, oh, they just don't want to work. Well, they were showing up to work all of this time. Doesn't strike me as people that have been showing up to work for years consistently just all of a sudden disappear. No. What your lying ass corporate media won't report because the businesses don't want to report it is that their staff contracted the virus. When people were wearing masks, people were still getting infected, but in lower numbers. Now that the infection rate has gone up, and you tell people they don't have to wear a mask in close confined quarters, such as a plane, is it any wonder that stewardess, attendants, and pilots are getting ill with the virus? Who's surprised? Raise your hand. You get the award this year for not being able to critically assess and think. I mean, this is just kind of ridiculous. So don't be upset because they said this is not going to get any better. On average, Delta has already stated that they're going to cancel at least 400 flights. per day this summer. 1,000 flights in total will be canceled per day this summer. Don't get upset. You didn't want to wear a mask. So now your flight is being canceled. Which one is more of an inconvenience, I would ask? Wearing a mask for a couple hours on a flight, or your flight canceled and you don't know when you're going to leave the airport? Which one is more of an inconvenience? I mean, this is ridiculous. This one judge who wasn't even qualified, she wasn't even ranked as qualified to be a judge. The American Bar Association says she's not qualified. She hasn't been in the legal profession long enough. He literally threw this woman on the court as he was walking out the door in September of 2020, right before the election. Then he got his ass kicked in. So if you want to blame staff shortages on the president, the current president, no, please blame the previous one who nominated this ridiculously not so smart judge, who I made a whole video about. Go and watch that. This not so smart judge who lifted the federal mask mandate for public transportation. Now, the moment it's been lifted, you have staff shortages again. Attendants are calling out. They're saying, I'm not going to get on a plane with one other attendant, and we're supposed to have 5. Have you seen all the fights occurring on planes? They've been literally trying to open doors. One individual did open the door and jumped out of the plane. And you would think you would want to do that understaffed. No, even if I don't have the virus, I'm like, if 5 of my other coworkers have it, and there's 7 of us in total, and they say, hey, we need the 2 of you to come in. 5 people can't come in. Can you 2 come in? I'm going to be like, no. Hell no. We'll pay you extra. We'll give you whatever you want. No. Hell no. I don't think people truly grasp or understand what is occurring. Don't put yourself in danger for a reckless company who knew full well that they needed to keep those masks in place. Don't put yourself in danger. They could have lifted the mask mandate, and if I was an owner of any airline company, I would have said, fuck what that judge is saying. We're keeping our masks on. We're going to be the only airline that's going to be in operation because we're doing common sense. And we're not listening to someone who is not even qualified to be in a position tell us what to do. Now, if an airline company had said that and done that, they wouldn't be in this position that they're in right now. Delta was the main bastards that couldn't wait to lift the mask mandate. Oh, Delta was throwing parties on their plane. We don't have to wear a mask anymore. Well, Delta, why are you canceling 1,000 flights on average per day this summer? Oh, you don't have any staff. That's right. I I hate to tell you that I told you so, but I kind of, the day that it was lifted, made a whole hour and 50-minute video explaining just how ludicrous the decision was. So I kind of did tell you so. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. I went line by line by line by line. But you know, these folks think they know everything. So they don't listen. And I sit back and I wait. And I go, oh, well, that's what stubbornness gets you.